All right, I'm gonna record this. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, bet. Let me share my screen real quick. All right, you can see my screen too.
Yep.
All right, so basically, my plan today was like to go over the setup process and like show an example of like how I use Tailwind and like develop my own portfolio website. And then like next week, that's like when I plan on like really getting started on like actually developing the website. I mostly intend this to be like on your own kind of, since like everyone has their own designs that they want to implement. So I mean if you and like other people that choose to join later are fine with that, then that's how we'll roll. So this is kind of like my portfolio website. This is like a little bit, this is, I'd say it's not what's like released right now. What I have right now is looks slightly different. So it kind of looks similar, but like some elements are moved around a little bit. But this is like the general what do I call it? Like synopsis of how I want it to look like. So this is like a more updated version that I haven't like actually pushed to like production yet. But if you wanted to see like the code behind it, let me pull that up real quick. Yeah, so the first thing you realize, it does look kind of messy, but like that's kind of like how Tailwind operates, is like they call it like utility first. So they focus more on like the repeated information and like getting everything like front and center instead of having like a separate CSS file. I find this kind of useful though because it makes it easier to like style a lot of everything. So like if I were to inspect element on this is also being recorded, so anyone can watch it on YouTube later and follow along too. But yeah, following like the styles, like I have like the work experience here, and like you can kind of see what I put in to make it look like that. So like the text pink 800, that means that's what like appears here. So instead of like having to go into like the CSS file and actually like add that manually, like the color space and all that, I could just do text pink. So like you kind of write out what you want it to look like instead of like having to memorize a bunch of different like uh color channels and like font weights and all that. Like I made this text 3XL, so it's like this is the size of it. I kind of made it consistent along the whole like website. It also makes it easy to like use Flexbox and also make it mobile friendly pretty easily. So like if I were to go to the mobile view, this is how it looked like. So everything like this was four rows in the desktop view. Let me see. Yeah, like that. And now it's um two rows. So I kind of like designed it like that to make it like uh look appealing in mobile view. Even like the nav bar like changes too, depending on the view you look at it from. Like it's full here, but then here you have to press a button to make it expand down. So I guess with that out of the way, we can go over the installation process. It is, there's quite a few things that we will need. First, do you have Visual Studios? If you don't, we can get that pretty easily from I can just search up on Google, click the first link to be honest. Make sure to get the one from Microsoft, but like you can download this one, the stable version. And there's difference between Visual Studio Code and Visual Studios. I meant to say Visual Studio Code. That's one you want to get because like that's more tailored towards like web development and stuff. Visual Studios is like a set completely separate IDE. They can like code in C++ or like Java or any of those other stuff in. So yeah, that would be like the first thing you need. And if you do have Visual Studios already, I'd recommend you get this. It's called Tailwindcss Intellisense. So this like will help us know if we actually install Tailwind the right way. But yeah, I recommend getting that now. And I'll wait a couple seconds for it to like install. But what Intel like the Tailwind IntelliSense does, let me open up my document again. Like if you look in the index, let me scroll up a bit. So you can see like these boxes. I'll wait for it to load. But like so on hover, this will appear yellow. So it makes it easier to follow along too. Like the different colors I have in different parts of my website shows here. Also has like autocomplete. So if I want to add like a padding 5, like you can see the autocomplete here. I'll go I'll go a little bit about like how to use Tailwind CSS. It is pretty useful and very like reactive as well. But yeah, let me show a demonstration. So like that hover effect, if you were to hover over one of these, it'll appear yellow, which I that's like what I wanted it to do. So like you have the I forgot what they call it, attribute, I guess, and then the color of it and whatever style you had right next to it, and then the actual like name. So yeah, after you have Visual Studios and the Tailwind IntelliSense installed, we have to go to Node.js. Yeah, we need Node.js because that's how we're gonna actually install Tailwind CSS. It does take a couple minutes to get it installed, but I guess while that's being installed, I'll kind of like show the commands that we'll use. So yeah, this is what I've been talking about, Tailwind CSS. They had their website is very good. Like it's very well documented on like how you can use various parts of the styling. It's like I mentioned earlier with the padding. So if you look that up here, it gives you like the different axes you can pad to and like with nice visuals as well. It's like padding top 6 adds padding towards the top of the element and 6 levels of it. The 6 can be translated to I think they use rem if I'm not mistaken. Hold on, let me see. Oh yeah, so one padding is about a quarter rem, and rem is I believe 6 pixels. Let me make sure that's right. 6 or 12, if I'm correct. Oh, 16. So I was wrong both times. But so I guess like one P1 is like a quarter rem, which is about 4 pixels. Oh yeah, it says in the comments right here. So if I wanted like to add padding 6, that's moving it about whatever 16 times 6 is. I can't think of that off the top of my head at the moment. You can also pad it horizontally and vertically too. So you don't have to have like two different sets of CSS to configure that. I think I have that somewhere. Let me see. Not padding, but like margin. Yeah, so like this MX Auto, that like centers it into the middle of the frame. So like the profile picture I have up, this is like centered directly in the center of the website. So even if I shrink or grow the page, it's always going to be in the center of it. Oh, and if you have any questions, you can leave a chat or just interrupt me at any moment. I don't know if you have Node installed yet, but after that is installed, I guess we can go over GitHub. Yeah, we'll go over GitHub because I personally use GitHub to like save my projects and stuff, so it makes it easier. And it's good like for backup in case like you accidentally mess up on your code. So if you do have a GitHub account, that'd be very useful, and it links with Visual Studios as well, so you can like use all the GitHub commands in Visual Studios. But yeah, so after you have Node installed, I guess we'll start installing Tailwind. None of this takes up much space, but just going by the step by step into the tutorial, it can be a little tedious at first. I think up until yesterday, I was like struggling getting everything working just right, but now I'm in a place I can actually like teach this properly. So first, let me start with making a new project, and then we'll get Tailwind installed. Make a new folder. That's what I'll name it. Some reason is open. I know why all my Microsoft stuff is set to update now. All right. So now that I have that created, let me make sure that it actually works here. All right. Did Node install for you?
Yeah, it did.
All right, great, great. So let me go back here. So the open in I'm using a bunch of keyboard shortcuts just to make it like easier for me to like get all this stuff done. I found that like using shortcuts is like a lot easier for me. So like to open a new project like that, you just do Command O and then you go into the folder that you want to be using. For this one, let me just add index.html here. And if you're using a Mac, we're gonna open up the terminal. So to do that, you hit Command Shift P. On Windows, I'd assume it's like Control Shift P, but I'm not positive on that. But in the terminal, that's where we're gonna run like the commands to actually get Tailwind set up. All right. So I guess the first step that we'll do is we'll just follow these steps and make sure everything goes smoothly. So let me copy the npm install Tailwind CSS. The reason we need to install Node.js is because like npm and npx, that's used in like the Node library to actually get like these installed. I think the creators of Tailwind like use that to like use Node to actually like develop the application. So it doesn't take too long to get that installed. We also need to get this too. This installs the what's it called, the config file. That's pretty useful if you want to make custom like configurations of how you want things to look like. So like in the theme and extends, you can put like a custom thing, like I don't know the exact names, but I think it's like I'll just make up one like add fonts or something like that. And you can change put a custom size in it. In the documentation, it kind of shows you how to do that as well. So like the font, yeah, font weight, what font size I was there too. If you scroll down a bit, it shows you where you can change that. Yeah. So I can like change the different values of it, but these are like the default values in case you wanted to add it there. So after those, oh yeah, if you look in your folder as well, let me open that up. All this gets installed in your folder. Most of this is just like the Node installation packages. So let me actually remove that from Git. Oh wait, yeah, I'll probably do that later. So the next step is, oh yes, So yeah, let me create another file and name that styles.css as well. If I'm going too fast, let me know. I'll slow down. So the next step is just adding these here. It'll give a warning, but you can just ignore that. And for anyone else that just joined, I recommend you get, where is it? 1 second. Yeah, this Tailwind Intellisense. This is just like, well, remember installing it's a gauge to know like if you actually installed it right, but it's also like Intellisense, so it gives you a bunch of like shortcuts and like a menu to like show the different values of what you're typing in. So it makes it a little bit easier to like see what you're doing. I think it's blocking my vision. And so this next part right here, this one's pretty important. This is what updates the other CSS file that is used in Tailwind. So when we put it in, because I made like this styles.css, kind of have to change the name and the directory it's stored in. So right now it's stored, this one, the src.input.css, it makes an input CSS file that like you put like all your custom CSS into. But since I already made one called styles.css, I'll just change the name to that one and put it in like the base folder like that. And what this does is like every time you add a new CSS, even in the styles or like in your HTML file, it updates like the output CSS. And you can use that file to actually like put in like your actual website that you want to later deploy, like later after you're done building it. Let me run that real quick. I forgot to also mention that this is supposed to contain something too. Let me see. Yeah, it's supposed to have this. But we have to change the information here too. I forgot how I did it. 1 second. Yes, I can do it like this. The reason I have it like this is because I have my index.html found like the base level of the file and not inside like a source. I just did that because that's how I'm used to coding my stuff. You can leave it like how they have it in the website, but you have to remember to put your HTML file in the .src. And what these like double ashes means is like it's recursive call, so it looks through every directory, and then this ashes here is like it's ambiguous, so it looks through every file that has .html as its extension, .html or .js, and that's where it applies like all the CSS changes you made into the output CSS. So I think now that we have everything set up, let me check just to make sure. Yeah, now we can just copy and paste this and see if it actually works. So let me paste this into here. And on Mac, I found out after like working with another friend who uses Tailwind a lot, you have to have like a kind of a live server. So if you go to like the marketplace and search up live server, I don't know if it's the same thing on Windows, but you can just get this one. It works pretty well. And then you hit go live and you want to actually start it. I think the first time you do it, it'll ask which folder, which file. So select the index.html file. But when we go live, it should work. So yeah, it looks like it works right now. So I see the underline and the bold text. And if you look at the file here, it has the font is bold and underline underneath. And text size 3XL, which is like the actual size of the like text itself. So let me add like another color too, just to make sure. And you can see the Tailwind Intellisense working as well. Let me do that real quick. So it looks like it works for me. It installed pretty well. Did you guys have the same success?
Oh, I'm still trying to get Tailwind in, so like I'm almost done. But
Oh, okay, for sure. I can walk you through the steps too. What part do you want exactly?
uh, the CSS, which is just like copy and paste. So
So like, oh, just this part?
yep.
All right. Yeah, you just copy and paste that into like your CSS file. And then like on step 4, if you named it like styles.css or put another folder like src and then like input that CSS, we'd have to change this part to wherever the CSS file is. Yeah, it can look a little like as you it's pretty easy to like implement as you go along and like the documentation is very well written. So like anything like you have questions on, like for example, if you want let me think, like understanding margins and stuff, that's scroll margins, but let me see. Yeah, they have it organized in different like sections. So if you want grids, margins, tables, all that, they have a very good explanation on like what each of them does, and even pictures like kind of show you. And if you do run into any problems, let me know. I'm just ignoring all the installation files that Node has. I think that's about it. Also, through my internship, I learned how to use like Git commands through the terminal, and it's been pretty useful for me since then. So I've kind of gone through that route. How far are you through the installation process now?
Oh, I'm good. Yeah,
Oh, so everything works now?
I think so. We'll see. It did print out hello world. So
And is it like underlined and bolded?
mhm.
All right. So it looks like it's working well for you then. And if you notice, so if you did want to see like the changes it makes, if you go into like the dist file and go into output.css, it like actively updates every change you make. So let me look for the like text green, for example. Yeah, right here. So it does all the changes for you, like in each part of the file. And if you had like if you were part of the Figma workshop and like had your designs, you could probably start implementing that too. So like in my website, let me go back to that. Every edition I have is like basically from going through the documentation and also like W3 school and like trying to understand like how each part works together, especially like using different CSS parts. There are some things I wasn't able to understand fully just yet, but I'm sure if like time I'll be able to do it. Let me see. Like I still have my CSS file here. Let me go to it real quick. And there's some things like the nav bar. When you first like go on the page, I didn't want it to show up. Like so, like when you're at the very top of the page, you see how it disappears. But initially, like it still show up until you like scroll, then it disappears. So I made it like negative 150 pixels. On my machine, I don't know why it wasn't working, but to make like negative values on Tailwind, you'd have to do like let me go to it. You have to do like the hyphen there and then do it like that. So this one represents negative and this one represents positive. But for some reason that wasn't working. So I still had to add it like in the CSS file here. It was still pretty easy to like implement, and Tailwind still uses like your CSS file because like we added that tracker to like check every change you make. And so yeah, it makes it pretty easy. And this file right here is what like actually outputs this CSS file. I have some other stuff here that's for like future use that I want to implement. And another cool thing with Tailwind CSS is that they have a dark mode support, so you don't have to write like any JavaScript code for that. You just add like this tag in front of it, the dark colon, and then every time you change your system colors, they'll set that to like the dark preference of the website. I used to have that on my website too, but some parts of it weren't working. But I'm on my way to figuring that out soon. But I guess that's essentially the installation for Tailwind and other parts of the project. Let me check. Yeah, it looks like we got everything installed. I mean, I can stop the screen recording here, but I'll still continue like the hour. Did you have like a design you wanted to go off of, or any questions you want me to cover?
No, I think I'm good. I didn't have time during the weekend to use Figma yet,
Oh yeah,
so
you're fine. It's not a full commitment, but like yeah, I'm still gonna have this project go every week, but it's mostly like on your own. Like you can join the Zoom meeting or you don't have to. If you do have any questions, I'll be on the Zoom like during this time.
okay. How long do you think this project's gonna go on for? Because I know Zavar's like was for the month of September. So is
Yeah,
this for like
yeah.
the month of October?
Yeah, mine's only 3 weeks. I can make it like another week if needed, but yeah, I think the 23rd. Let me check just to make sure. The 23rd might be the last. Yeah, the 25th, not the 23rd. My bad. That should be like the last day of the project. You can kind of like just share like any updates and changes we made to like our portfolio. But yeah, if you do have any like ever have any like you're stuck or something, Tailwind CSS, like their website's pretty good. And I've also used like W3 schools. They have like a lot of good information on like how to use HTML and CSS. You can kind of just use what they have and convert it. That's like one way I was able to like get this nav bar to look like this just by using like those two resources. And I like the way it turned out.
Cool. Thanks.
Sure thing, sure thing. Let me stop the recording, but I'll keep the Zoom open until 4.
Okay, I think I might head out though now.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
All right, but thank you.
No problem.
Are you still feeling better after COVID, or do you still have it a bit?
Oh no, no, yeah, I'm feeling a lot better now. Yeah, thank you for that.
Okay.
I don't even know how that happened.
All right. Well, I hope you stay safe,
Thank
and
you.
I'll go now.
See ya.
See ya.